Billy, Mr. Boohead. Hello, welcome to Newland.com. My name is Jason Newland. Welcome to Let Me Bore You to Sleep. And please only listen when you can safely close your eyes. So yeah, it's been a very interesting day. I'm going to tell you all about it in time. So, just to let you know what that kind of day it's been. It's been a very bright day. Nice, bright sky, blue sky, sunny. It's Tuesday the 30th of September 2025. It's currently 11 minutes past 6 p.m. and it is the third day of Big Brother. The third day of Big Brother. Ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah. I was watching it, right, okay. When Big Brother's on, everything else stops. Well, not everything else stops, but, you know, my friend Luke had to learn, he had to learn, do not knock on my door when Big Brother's on. And after doing it a couple of times, he stopped doing it. Occasionally he'd do it by accident and he'd apologise, because he knew that whatever was going on with him was not as important to me as watching Big Brother. And he would laugh at that, so don't judge me. He found it funny that I love Big Brother. It wasn't really his cup of tea, but it was mine. It's my cup of tea, my cup of coffee, my bovril. In fact, it's every single drink I've ever had. I love Big Brother. Although, to be honest, I'm not really a big fan of any of the contestants so far. But then it's only been one day, really. When they came in Sunday, they came in on Sunday, but yesterday, like last night, was just basically a continuation of the Sunday night. So today will pretty much be yesterday. So it'll be the first day in the house. So, you know, I haven't seen enough of them to really give a proper judgment. Yeah, so it's been a nice day. I've taken Vinny out twice so far. When I've done this, I will take him out again, hopefully, before it's dark. Or, if it looks like it's going to get dark, I will interrupt this recording, take him out before it's dark, so he doesn't go out when it's dark anymore. I'll take him in the garden, or I'll take him over to some grass out the front, but yeah, don't take him in the park, because I can't see anything. You know, and I would not take him out when all the street lights are off, which is about midnight, 1 o'clock. Oh, there was a time when the street lights would be on all night long. But now, we got to save money, ain't it? So yeah. I mean, this area literally is pitch black. Apart from, well, I suppose if there's house lights on, then, you know, it adds a little bit of light. Or some people have those activated lights, you know, so if you walk past or if you try and steal their letterbox or whatever, the light comes on. You know, like if you go too close to the house. and then you're filmed, and then they send that film to the police, and then the police knock on the door saying, why were you trying to urinate through their letterbox? I'm sorry, I was drunk. There's no excuse. You're going to prison again. So anyway, I was waiting for a phone call. I had an appointment with the mental health nurse today, and the text message said, I need to pretty much answer the phone, or it will be, what do they call it? Dismissed or whatever. Discharged. Don't like the word discharge. It sounds, I don't know, I just don't want to be known as a discharge, you know what I mean? So I then got really ready. I thought, you know what, they're phoning up at 1, whoever the person is, and I'm going to be ready. So I sat here, I had a nap beforehand so that I was awake and alert and, you know, able to participate in a meaningful conversation. And the phone did go, indeed, at just after 1 o'clock. And it was different from what I thought it was going to be. She basically went through my entire history, my entire mental health history, how I'm feeling in different situations, and how I'm feeling now, and how I felt in the past, and how I feel in certain, you know, situations regarding public settings and communication-wise with humans and all kinds of stuff like that, and sort of what's going on inside my head. And it was very enlightening, actually, because, you know, perhaps I shouldn't be talking about this, but anyway, this is what's happened, so I'll talk about it. You know me, I want to talk about whatever's happened. It's nothing bad, it's just a factual thing. And she said that there's a chance, or it could be worth exploring, a diagnosis or an assessment of ADHD and maybe possible autism. And weirdly enough, I know a fair bit about autism, kind of. And there's different, you know, it's different levels of it, and I'm, you know, high functioning and stuff, and there's those that would be classed as low functioning, as far as being able to, well, function, I suppose, you know. I mean, I live on my own and always have done, and I look after myself, kind of, and yeah, I've done all right, generally, kind of. I'm trying out a new technique of saying "kind of" at the end of sentences. Do you like it? Is it working for you? Is it everything you dreamt it would be? So I don't know. I mean, that was the outcome. The outcome, there's two outcomes. There was the three outcomes actually. One was to perhaps get counselling. The other outcome was or more counselling. So I've had years of counselling over the years. Years over the years of counselling. The other thing was to try and get some help short term with my little bit of an issue with leaving the area. Social stuff. So, you know, that's an option. And the other thing is I'm not sure if you sent it by email as well. No. Yeah, so it was to self-refer for an assessment for ADHD. I mean, there's some places they do it for both ADHD and autism at the same time, because there's a big overlap between the two, apparently. And I said to her, I can't be HDAP, HAPPY, ADHD, it's too complicated to remember, because I'm not running around speeding and like talking a million miles an hour and acting all hectic. And she says, you really don't know what ADHD is, do you? And I said, yes I do. It's that thing where people run around and talk a million miles an hour. Everyone's different, ultimately. But it's more about what's going on inside your head than what you're necessarily presenting to people outside. Because in order to function in society or to fit in, you have to learn. Well, I think everyone does. Not everyone's willing to, but generally, I'd say the majority of society learn certain techniques, social fitting in techniques. And then there's those that refuse to, or just can't, are unable to, who would perhaps be classed as antisocial. And maybe they don't care what other people think, and they refuse to try and fit in or to behave. And as I said, some people, they're like that because they don't care. They want to be like that. I've known people like that. And other people, they can't help it. They can't control themselves. I've managed over the years, through education, through learning stuff. We know what education means. To find ways. I don't know about fitting in, but to at least not seem alien to passers-by, maybe. And she did say something about how when I'm talking, I'm constantly interrupting. Which was, I mean, she said, but she also does it as well. So I said, okay, fair enough. And I suppose, in a way, I've never really... I'm not saying I've never done it, because I had psychotherapy for the personality disorder, and I had over a year's worth with a psychologist back in, I think that ended in about 2017. But I suppose, I mean, we're focusing on some of my behaviour, which has kind of crept back a little bit as late. Destruction and, yeah, some of the things that have caused problems in my life for me, not for other people, but just for me. And she got me looking at things a little bit different. Ask myself unusual questions. Things that probably I would have struggled to answer in my earlier life. I mean, I would like to think, I do like to think that I'm more self-aware now than I used to be. How self-aware I am, I guess I'm never really going to know. It's like the whole thing, isn't it? We've all got blind spots, but you can't have a go at someone for not knowing where their blind spots are because they can't see them because they're blind spots. So we all have things that we do that we don't realise we're doing. But then sometimes if you've got a partner or a friend or a parent or a son or daughter, child, or whatever, teacher, work boss, whatever, who's constantly picking you up on stuff that you're doing that's wrong, they're probably going to include stuff within your blind spot, but you're not going to know which is a blind spot because if you're anything like me, as soon as someone starts criticising me, I switch off and think of, well, I don't switch off my thinking, but I start thinking about other things, like revenge. But it's, ooh, revenge. Mental health nurse, 30th of September 2025. Wow. I stuck that on my wall because I thought, if she didn't call, or if she did call and she rung twice, and I missed a call, what happens then? Well, my theory was this. I'm not living in chaos. Right, my life, my outside world is not chaos. Has been, but at the moment it's not. It's very, fairly settled. I got Vinny. I do these podcasts, watch some telly. I even had a go on a punch bag. I had about half an hour on a punch bag today, which was nice. So a bit of exercise. And she said to me, well, from what you're saying, there's a lot of chaos inside. I never really thought of it like that. The thinking. Because I don't tell people. Well, no one ever asks me what I'm thinking. I know you could argue that I talk about what I'm thinking about on a regular basis on these recordings, but I don't necessarily, it's not like you don't. It is, I don't know if it comes across a little bit chaotic, the way I present my thoughts. It's definitely not a straight line, is it? Let's face it. And that moving from one thing to another, then moving to something else, then coming back, is something that I would naturally do in a conversation with someone. which is why I try to avoid having conversations with people, because I know that's what I'm like, and I know that that's not the right way to be with people. A conversation, to be fair, on each person needs to be pretty much 50% either way, unless one person's really struggling and maybe they have a bit more time, maybe a lot more time. I do have a tendency to talk about myself. And again, if you listen to this, this is not going to be a surprise to you. I don't think anyone's going to be falling off their chair what? You like talking about yourself? No. Yeah, apparently I do. And you know when people say, it's not all about you. It is. It really is all about me. But it's not in a bad way. I've noticed, really, can you make a bit more noise, please? He stopped. As soon as I said that, he stopped. Because he knows normally I'd pick him up on how loud he gets afterwards. So, here's something I've noticed about myself. When I'm conversing and somebody tells me something, let's say, it could be about anything, I always have an example of something similar that's happened to me or someone else that I know. And over the last couple of years, or a year or two, I don't know however long it's been, I started to realise and notice that I do this. Because the only people I really have conversations with generally is other dog walkers. So the conversations are very brief. And I do wonder what they think about me. It's like, whenever we say anything to that bloke with Vinny's dad, he always has to come back with his own example of something that's happened to him, as if it's a contest. And it's not me trying to make it into a competition. I'm just trying to contribute. That's all it is, really. Genuinely, that's all it is, just trying to contribute. I tell you what, though, I found this website which you put a photograph in, take a photograph of yourself, and it tells you what age you are, how old you look. 60 years old, it said, for me. 60 years old. I've never been so angry. And I thought, you know what? What if I put the camera a little bit further away? Maybe it's a little bit too close, put the camera further away. Maybe it'll make me look a little bit younger or get a better picture of me. Did that. 61. So the further away the camera is, the older I get. I'm only 55. And when I say only, you know what I mean in this context. 55 is young. Well, it's not that young compared to 60, but not a lot of difference really, but 55. I'm not 60. I don't think I look 60. I don't think I look 55. But I don't think I look 35. I'm not going to be silly or anything, but 40 something. But no. Who was it that said the camera never lies? some bastard. 60. That was not the highlight of my year, if I'm honest with you. That was a little bit annoying, a little bit... 60. Really? So when I'm 60, I'm going to look 65 or 66. Maybe I'll get older as well with that. So by the time I'm 70, what am I going to look 79, 80? By the time I'm 80, what, 120? I mean, that's not fair. How's that right? What have I done to deserve that? So I'm thinking, or what I've done in response to this, was that every action has a reaction, is I've ordered a razor, a new razor for my razor, you know, the razor head thing. And when that comes tomorrow, I'm going to shave my beard off and I'm going to shave my hair and take another picture. In fact, now what I'll do first is, I want to do 3 pictures. I want one with the beard with no hair, and I want one with no beard and hair. Well, no, and the third one, which is no hair and no beard. But how? I can't do all 3. I can't take all 3 pictures. What I could do is I could put 2 images together, couldn't I? So I could take a picture of myself now. In fact, I could do that. I could just put a bald head on me. And then, yeah, so I could have that picture, then a picture of me with a bald head and no beard. And I can just test it with each one. So the one with the beard with the hair, with no hair, and then with the hair with no beard. Yeah, I think I'm following myself. Because if that makes me look a lot younger, then it's worth it. And there's nothing, I'm not saying, oh, it's so wrong, I don't want to look 60. Well, I mean, I am saying I don't want to look 60, but I'm not saying it's being 60 is a lot of positives there. It means you're 60, you know, you've got that. It's good for you. But I'm 55. I'm not 60. You know, brilliant for people that get to 80 or 90. But I'm 55. I'm not 90. I don't want to look 90. I'd like to be 90 one day, but I don't want to look 90. Not until I'm 90. But at this rate, I'll just be dust, walking around like a mummy or something. I mean, what's that about? I mean, it was a picture just of my face. It wasn't of my body. I wonder what they'd do with my body. I mean, what could anyone do with my body? I don't think there's much left to do with it, but imagine if it was my body and said, oh, you look 70. Like, thanks. And my skin's still kind of quite firm, you know, on my arms and stuff, and I've still got okay legs-ish. I've still got some hair. A bald patch, an ever-growing bald patch. So I'm going to shave all that off tomorrow. And if I don't get a good result from that picture thing, I'm going to be very disappointed. And why have the razors gone up so expensive now? Used to be £10, now they're £16. What's happened? £16 for a razor. Once I shave my head off, it almost blunts it. I mean, that's an expensive haircut. 16, well, okay, it's not, but it's... Maybe I need to go and get my hair cut properly. Perhaps that would make it look nicer. If I got a proper nice haircut, or at least attempt to get a decent haircut, that might improve things a little bit. I don't know. What do you think? I'm 55. But even 55 sounds old. 55. I was 44 years old when I moved into this flat. I was 34 years old when I made my first video and podcast. I was 24 years old when I went to the Isle of Man, or when I was doing Wing Chun Kung Fu. "34, 44, 54. So it's 20 years ago. I was doing Wing Chun Kung Fu. And I was living in that room, right round the corner from a football stadium. I had a job. Well, I had two jobs during that time. I was working in insurance from the September onwards, I think, or August. And before that, the first part of the year, I was working in a gift shop. I want to see how far back I can go. So what other dates are there? So that's 2004. So 1994, what was I doing in 1994? Anyone? 1994, I was... Oh, okay. 1994, I went to Ireland. I did. Went to Ireland. What other things did I do? 1994, went to Ireland. 1984, I was doing karate. Can't really think what else happened in 1984. But yeah, I was doing karate. That was kind of my life. I was at school, but that was my main thing. In 1984, so 1974, I was a toddler. Well, I was 4 years old. Or 3 years old, actually. Or 90. Oh, I've gone back wrong, haven't I? So, this time last year... Okay, anyway. So, the thing is, because my birthday is at the end of August, part of the year... I'm a different age. So next year, I'll be 55 all the way up to the end of August in 2026. But then on my birthday, this is how it works, in case you don't know. On my birthday, I become a year older, so I'll be 56. It's weird, isn't it? Da 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 da, ba ba da ba 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 da ba. SoundCloud podcasts have really come up lately. They've become more popular. My SoundCloud podcasts. Don't really know why, but hey, thanks. The website's coming along as well, so everything's going okay. I didn't really know what to think about the mental health interview that I had, because it's about an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes or something. And this, I guess, is something quite nice about somebody asking how your brain's working or how you're thinking. Not necessarily what you're thinking, but how you're thinking. How, you know, if that makes sense. So because I do think about so many different scenarios to a situation. Like something that's coming up or something that's happened in the past. All the different scenarios, of all the different ways that it could have gone, whether well or bad or indifferent. It just, so, you know, and I can have these internal dialogues, these conversations with other people, and it's not like a voice. I'm not hearing voices. It's just, it's like it's a conversation. It's a proper dialogue, and it's kind of weird. That's weird. I think it's, I personally would say it's like a superpower to have an active brain where I can talk. I mean, let's face it, I can talk non-stop. And to have that, instead of it being a curse, I mean, it's not necessarily a good thing when it comes to intercommunications or, you know, relationships and stuff, necessarily, but for making podcasts, it definitely seems to be a useful thing. And I've realised that it's not that I talk slowly, it's that I'm careful what I say. Here's me thinking, oh, I talk so slowly, I'm just slow. But actually, when I make a podcast, and also when I'm around other people, I pick my words carefully, because not all the time, but I try to express myself in a way that's acceptable, instead of just blurting out the first thing that comes into my mind, which is my natural response. That's my natural way to do things. But I'm not on this planet to upset people. No matter how much fun it is, I'm not. No, I'm not. I would. No, I'm joking. I'm not, though. So I try and be a bit more careful with my wording, because I didn't used to. Like 20 years ago, I was constantly getting into trouble, and because I was around Buddhists for quite a long time, living with them, working with them, and there's that constant oversensitivity that I had to deal with, and which it meant that what the average person wouldn't be bothered by, they were. Because it was all about, well, it wasn't all about, but a lot of it was about truthful speech and kind communication, being genuine and being whatever, you know, some kind of things like sarcasm and stuff like that wasn't always welcome. I mean, some people are okay and they're fine with it. But what I did notice is probably most of the Buddhists did not accept me. Some did, some didn't. And those that did, I kept in contact with. But there was quite a few that didn't, because I remember I had this conversation. I was at this meeting, I don't know, it was just at a Buddhist centre a long time ago. And someone said to me, they were talking about like perfection and stuff like that, and I said, well, I don't want to be perfect. And he said to me, well, you should. But I don't. Never wanted to be perfect. I wanted, in some ways, I want to be the best version of me. And I know that's cliche, but I quite like it. The best version of what I can be. But do I want to do that for other people, or do I want to do it for myself? Or is it a mixture? Maybe a mixture's a good thing. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm just like, it'd be nice to feel accepted and to not have to be something else, but to do it without being rugged. I don't know if rugged's the right question, but without being maybe bullish. Maybe not bullish. Without an attitude. I think that's what I'm looking for. To be able to, you know, not like walking through life like, this is me, I'm never going to change, accept me for who I am, or go away. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be have that kind of attitude and I'm never going to change, which is ridiculous because we all change. If you're the same person you was when you were 20, then something's gone very seriously wrong. Or you were amazing when you were 20. Or, you know, to not be affected by life means there's something gone wrong. We're all affected. You know, in some way or other. I'm not the same person I was when I was 20. And physiologically, we are not the same person either, because our body is regenerated how many times? There's not one part of our body that's the same as what it was, you know, 30, 40 years ago. On that note, I'm going to take Vinny for a walk before it's... So yeah, I'm back from the walk with Vincent. I can't believe just how dark it gets so very quickly. So we get out, it's starting to get dark, and I'm walking on the grass with his ladyship, and within about 10 minutes I don't really feel particularly confident in where I'm walking or where I'm standing. I mean, yeah, it's grass, but there's certain things on that grass sometimes that I don't necessarily want to bring home with me and traipse and stomp into the carpet for future smelling, you know, and he doesn't like to stay on the pathway. He likes being on the grass. He loves being outside, really. Just going to have to figure a way around it. I just don't want to go in the park anymore at night when it's dark, because I can't see what's around me. And I need to be able to see what's around me. And you say, okay, get a torch. I thought you had a torch. I do have a torch, it just broke. It's not a point of the torch. Okay, torches are useful. I'm not arguing that, but even with a torch or a flashlight, you might call it, you might wrongly call it, it's a torch, that's what's the proper name, do you know what bugs me? So I'm a big Frasier fan, the TV show Frasier, the original show. Like, they show it every single day on TV here, on Channel 4, every morning, Frasier. And they show it, they just keep repeating it. They show the whole... They've stopped even trying to show in order. They showed one from like season 2, or series 2 it should be, and another one from like series 7 or something, like afterwards. They're not even attempting to have any kind of order. I was trying to think of a better word than order. But anyway, there was an episode today where Daphne had her own pub. Like, not her own pub, but a place where she goes to, which is full of expats, full of supposedly English people in the pub, including who runs it and all the people in there. And Frasier goes in there and becomes friends with some of the people in there, and he decides to go in there every night, and Daphne gets annoyed because it's her place, and then they have a conversation. I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil the show. I mean, it was 30 years ago, so you might have seen it by now. And in this, and then on that, Frasier says, "Well, I know what it's like." See, I can't do a good accent, but he knows what it's like to have his own bar where he goes to and where everyone knows his name, etc. Now, I think every single person that had a speaking role in that particular episode did not sound English. And I'm wondering, why is it so hard for actors from other countries? I'm not going to focus on American actors necessarily, but it seems to be quite difficult to do an English accent or to make it sound realistic. But then on the same, I'm going to flip it as well. There's been some English actors that have done atrocious American accents. Like, really bad. Now, I think Tom Hardy's great. His American accent isn't. Because every now and then he just chucks in an English word. Like not an English word, because they're all English words, aren't they? Because we invented the language, but we lent it to you. You've not given it back. So, but he kind of pronounces something like, "Hey, I'm going down a ranch, and I'm going to go shopping. I'm going to go downtown, and then I'm going to get myself a Kit Kat. In it, you get me?" I don't know. It's probably not a good example. Yeah, so it's a really bad example. But none of the accents sounded. I mean, they sounded kind of northern. That's what I don't understand. They've not even tried to... I mean, they've chosen one of the hardest accents as well. Like a northern accent. I know Daphne's from up north, I think. So Daphne... Here's a weird thing, like Daphne Fraser. So it's a Fraser actress, whatever her name is. Jane Leeves. So she played Daphne from 93 to 2004. Has she done anything since? I mean, of course she's done something since, but has she done anything like big? In films, no. She hasn't done anything hardly at all in films since. But she did Frasier. Caroline in the City. She played Daphne Moon. She played the same character, unless it's just coincidental. That was 95. She played Athena in Hercules. She was Edwina in The Simpsons. I'm just looking for something that she was in, like, proper in it for a long time. No, nothing. So that's TV. What about movies? The last movie she did was Eric Idle's What About Dick? And that was 2012. Oh. So before she was in Frasier, she was in quite a few big shows. She was in the Benny Hill show. Hill's Angel. She played a Hill's Angel in 4 episodes. She was in Murder, She Wrote. Hooperman. Remember Hooperman? I used to love Hooperman. Now, admittedly, I didn't realise John Ritter was a pretty big star. What are you doing, Vinny? I didn't know that he was a big star before Cooperman, unless he wasn't. I know he's no longer with us. Wow, 2003. Yeah, he was around a long time. In movies from 1971. And then Stay Tuned. Oh. Stay Tuned. These are movies. There was a good movie that he was in the 90s. Oh, maybe that's it. That's very strange. He was in Bad Santa. That's humorously released. He was in Bride of Chucky, Montana, Nowhere. Problem Child. Was that his big sort of movie role? That was 1990. TV, The Dating Game, Hawaii Five-0, MASH, he did a one-off there. Rhoda, this was that episode called Chest Pains, which is poignant, isn't it, really? The Bob Crane Show. These are like 1967 onwards. Tattletales. Ringo. He was in the Ringo movie. Leave Yesterday Behind. The Comeback Kid. What was he famous for before he did? Because I used to watch. So he played himself in the Fantastic Miss Piggy show, which was a TV show? Yeah, a TV show. I didn't know she had her own show. Wow. What was he known for? in 1982? What was he known for? That's what I'm unsure about. I mean, clearly he'd been in lots. Oh, Three's Company. Three's Company. Yep. I knew there was something. He was famous because of Three's Company, which was from... Do I need to say it any more time? One more time? Three's Company. 1977 to 1984. He was a lead role. See, I used to watch that, early 80s. And Three's Company, is that the one that had Michael J. Fox? No. Oh, it didn't, did it? It wasn't he like a father of lots of people, lots of kids, or sign of... Oh, it's based on the British sitcom Man About the House. That's interesting. Man About the House was a huge show in the UK in the early 70s. And it also, it led to a... Did they have the same names? Let's have a look at the cast. Jack Tripper, John Ritter. Joyce DeWitt, Janet Wood. So I'm guessing Jack Tripper. Yeah, so it was... That would have been the Man About a House. Stanley Roper. Helen Roper. Okay, so basically what it was about is you had... If you hadn't... I guess if you're a big fan of Three's Company, you might not enjoy Man About a House. But bearing in mind, I'm guessing if it's being created after Man About a House, which it has, by the same people, the first season or the first series is going to be pretty much very similar. And the Ropers, so the Ropers, that's the main characters, they weren't the stars of the show. It was like the bloke Tripper and Joyce DeWitt and Suzanne Summers, Chrissy, Janet and Chrissy. So they were like the stars, they were the young people. But what happened is the Ropers, the man downstairs and basically the landlord and landlady, kind of became favourites. And they ended up getting their own TV show. And then, so when this show finished in the UK, Man About a House, they did 2 new shows. One was called George and Mildred, which was the Ropers, the landlady and landlord, and the other one was called Robin's Nest, because it was Robin Tripper or Jack. It wasn't Jack in the show, it was Robin, I think, because his name was Robin. But they didn't do, like, quite often they seem to, when they take, when America I'm not going to say copies, it is syndicated, not syndicated, because that's just the original show, isn't it? But when an idea is copied, or bought, or whatever, sometimes, like with The Office had, I think, 2 series of it, 2 seasons in the UK. America had 200. Maybe not quite as many. Did you know they got a new show out from the creators of that? And it's based in is it a newspaper or something? In the same building, I think. See, Robin's Nest, I quite liked it, but George and Mildred, much funnier. Between 1976 and 79, it's just funnier. To me, personally. Robin's Nest, it wasn't on. It was from the 11th of January. Oh, they did 6 series. Really? Well, I take that back then. I didn't think they did 6. Okay, I'm completely take that back. What I said earlier, whatever it was, I don't remember. It was all nice stuff, baby. So basically, if you go down there, so Three's Company turned, what's his name, into a huge star, John Ritter. And I'll be honest with you, I don't remember it now. I thought it was something else. So I'm sure I've seen it. No doubt I've seen it. They showed those kind of programs. In the UK, they'd either be late at night, like really late at night, or maybe in the middle of the night. Although generally TV stopped at midnight until 6 in the morning. Everything would just stop. Even going back to the 90s. I'm not sure about Channel 4, but BBC One, ITV, okay, maybe, I think BBC One did. And it'd just have a picture of a girl just looking. I think she was holding a duck or something. So that was weird, and it's just like do, and that's all you'd have all night long, which is not a great sound. So Three's a crowd. After that, what did he do? TV shows. Okay, I discovered him pretty much in, I thought it was the early, it was the late 80s, 1987 to 1989, Hooperman. It used to be on, I think it used to be on like a midweek time, kind of late, because 1987, I used to watch it, I used to like it, but it was very unmemorable. In a way of, I couldn't tell you really anything that happened. But he was very watchable. And memorable as in the fact that I remember it, but not as in, any particular episodes. It's a bit like the Due North or Due South. I watched that every week when that was on. And that was a Canadian bloke on a horse, and it was quirky, and it was, I couldn't tell you anything that happened in that, but I watched it, I liked it, so I really liked Hooperman. I guess I had a little hope every time I watched it that he'd turn into a superhero, but it never happened. Have faith. He was in it. The Cosby Show, Anything But Love, Fish Police. I know one thing he was in. He was in Buffy, because he played an android in Buffy, and the Vampire Slayer. I remember that. The Larry Sanders Show. So he was in that. Unforgivable. Wings. I don't remember ever watching Wings. He was in a lot of TV shows, like just cameo appearances, or maybe doing the voice. Hearts of Fire, he was a lead role for 54 episodes. I've never heard of that one. I might have watched it. Yeah, King of the Hill. King of the Hill? So he was in that as well. So, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, 1997. Now, wow, 1997. Yeah. It was episode called Ted, and he was Ted Buchanan. And he was dating Buffy's mum. And then he turned horrible, I think. And then he ended up being... I don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't watched it. Because it's annoying, isn't it? I was going to get around to watching that for the last 38 years. Ally McBeal, he was in that for 2 episodes. He was in Veronica's Closet. He was in Batman Beyond, which would be a cartoon, doing a voice. Tucker, The Ellen Show. So his last role, which is probably his second biggest role, really, if in a sense of how many episodes he did. I mean, he did do 20. He did. There's Three's a Crowd. Three's a Crowd. 22 episodes. Is that all he did? So he was only in it for 1. Really? That doesn't play. So what happened there? He was in it for 1 season. There was only 1 season. They only did 1. Why is it that I remember the name of it? How strange. So, Hooperman at 42 episodes. And what's the other thing he was in? Hearts of Fire, 54 episodes. And then lastly, his very last thing he ever did, 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter. He did 31 episodes of that. I've never seen that. Never seen that show. I'll tell you it was a good show. And never see it anymore. Don't see it on TV. It's almost like it never existed. But I'm going to tell you what it is, because it was funny. It was actually a funny show. Okay, let's have a look. What are we doing? I'm just trying to look it up. Okay. It starred the man from Atlantis and Bobby Ewing. And it was in the 90s. It also starred J.R. Ewing's son after. So they kind of got together step by step. Yeah, step by step. Now, I haven't seen this for such a long time. Was it Brandon Call? Brandon Call, he was in Dallas, wasn't he? He was in Dallas television. He was in Dallas in 89. Okay, this is weird. Don't tell me I've got it wrong. No, I've not got it wrong. I know I haven't. I know. 100% I've not got it wrong. Which means the internet's got it wrong. Stacey Keenan. So it's an actress? No. Sasha Mitchell. Right. So Step is on Step by Step, and Jamie, he was in Dallas as well. And he was in the Kickboxer, some of the Kickboxer movies. He's now 58. Wow. So, him, I just remember, so funny. So funny. Like, absolutely hilarious. Some of the stuff he came out with. Why is he so far down the pecking order, though? That seems a bit strange. It's Brandon Spencer Lee Call. Really? How many names do you really need? Honestly, altogether, how many names does someone need? Brandon Spencer Lee Call. If you're going to go that, you might as well just add a few more. Bobby, Steve. It's weird, isn't it? I've run out of names. Maybe two more. Step by Step is an American television sitcom created by William Bigley and Michael Warren for ABC's TGIF Friday night lineup. Set in Port Washington, Wisconsin, it follows single parents Patrick Duffy and Suzanne Summers, each with 3 children, who marry and form a blended family in spite of their children's mutual resentment. It aired on ABC from September 91 to August 97, and then on CBS September 97 to June 98, with a total of 160 half-hour episodes, spanning 7 seasons. Among its co-stars is Stacey Keenan, Angela Watson, blah blah blah. Sasha Mitchell is Patrick Duffy's nephew, which he is in real life, isn't he? On Dallas as well. The series is often described as a copy of The Brady Bunch because of its similar premise, and was otherwise ignored by critics after the pilot episode, which met with a negative thing. But it went on for 7 years, so I found it funny. I used to watch it. It used to be on daytime telly every day. So it, I watched it in 1994. So they'd show it on daily. It was funny. Maybe it wasn't supposed to be funny. Maybe I just laughed. So ratings dipped. How strange. In the UK, seasons 1 and 2 of Step by Step aired sporadically on ITV weekdays mornings at 10 throughout parts of spring and summer in 1994 and 1995. Wow. See? That's amazing. I got that right, didn't I? I knew it was the summer 94. Episodes were also shown to a lesser extent during 96 and 97. That's kind of strange. They're not talking about reviews of the pilot episode. People apparently saying it's really bad. It's really bad. So why did I find it funny? if it was so bad. Hey, that doesn't make sense, does it? Could you make a bit more noise, please, Finn? Thanks. I remember it being good. Like funny, just like, it wasn't life-changing, but it was funny. It was entertaining. I'll tell you another one of my favourite movies. One of my favourite shows was called Sledgehammer. Another one that's just literally almost... I mean, I don't know about it in America or whatever, but in the UK, it's never on TV. In fact, I actually put in Sledgehammer. No, it's not a song. I don't want a song. TV, Sledgehammer, Season 1, Under the Gun pilot. So Sledgehammer, it's funny. That was a funny show. And I'm trying to think, composers... Why is it saying composers? Theme music. What about the writers? I want to see who wrote the show. So it's an American satirical police sitcom produced by New World Television. 2 series from 1986 September. So I watched it 19... Yeah, it was shown in the UK 88. So yeah, I was above the chip shop. So I watched it there. So it all finished and they put it on TV. Why is it not mentioning how funny it was? They don't seem to like to say nice things, do they, in these things? It's I find it very weird. Are they not? See, inspired by Clint Eastwood's no-nonsense approach to law enforcement in the Dirty Harry films, teenager Alan Spencer dreamed up the idea of a police officer whose approach was even more over the top, to the point of absurdity. At the age of, say, 16, Spencer wrote a screenplay based on this idea. The script and the main characters were both named Sledgehammer. Despite his youth, Spencer had already written for Rodney Dangerfield and such television as The Facts of Life and One Day at a Time. He sold his script upon the release of the 4th Dirty Harry movie, Sudden Impact, and the popularity of Dirty Harry-inspired action series Hunter. When HBO approached Leonard B. Stern, former producer of Get Smart, about developing such a show, Stern recommended Sledgehammer. It's funny. Stern knew of Spencer. Stern? Who's Stern? Howard Stern? Leonard B. Stern. Stern knew of Spencer trying to help Don Adams by personally writing a few gags for the comedian on the set of The Nude Bomb, and was returning the favour. Spencer quickly reworked his script for a half-hour television format. They wanted to... HBO produced it. Okay. And they suggested casting ideas that Spencer found unacceptable, such as known comedians Rodney Dangerfield or Joey Piscopo in the lead role, as opposed to a lesser-known actor who had become the character. Right, ABC took it in the end, and they took classically trained David Rash. Just having a look. The pilot of Sledgehammer was completed just as Peter Grable's song Sledgehammer became a huge hit. So they took advantage of the coincidence by using the song in the television, radio and film adverts for the show. That was a bit of spicy luck, wasn't it? I just, despite critical acclaim, the garnering high ratings in a special time slot just for the debut, Sledgehammer struggled in the ratings partly due to being repeatedly bounced around by ABC's fall schedule. See, for me, it attracted weekly viewership of 19 million viewers who followed the show religiously throughout its main time slot shifts. Did they not realise there's a reason for that? How many TV shows would pretty much do anything to get 19 million viewers now in today's, 19 million, maybe it wasn't a lot back then, but with the internet, YouTube and all the streaming channels, all the streaming stuff, 19 million's huge. I mean, I'm going to tell you the reason why it got 19 million is because it was funny. Sledgehammer was ridiculously funny. There was one. There's a scene. I think this lady said he went to a person's house, knocked on the door, or someone came into the police station saying, "My baby's gone missing," and he's saying, "Okay," gets his book out. So any I need a description. Any tattoos, piercings, and I just think it was so straight faced, very much like Naked Gun, really, in a way that he did it. There was no laughing. It was just ridiculous, though. He'd have a shower with his Magnum, not the ice cream, and he'd knocked on someone's door to tell them some really bad news, and he said, "Oh, here's the bad news. Get emotional if you need to." It's just so cold, but it's funny because I guess it's kind of taken that. It really does take that Dirty Harry into real life. That coldness and brashness into like everyday life and how it really wouldn't work. Imagine, yeah, it's funny show. And he was in Scrubs as well, I do believe. Mr. David Rash. Wow, he's 81 years old now. Crazy. Time. 81 years old. So he was in Scrubs. I'm pretty sure he was in Scrubs. Television, theatre productions. Nope, that's not what I want. I want television. Sledgehammer. He'd been in a few TV shows, but never been. He wasn't completely unknown. He did 34 episodes in a TV show called Ryan's Hope. He was in Miami Vice. He was in Sledgehammer for 41 episodes. He was in Nurses for 46 episodes. That was a serious role, wasn't it? Duckman. He was in Duckman. Perry Mason. I thought he was in Scrubs. He was in another sitcom. Is it Ugly Betty? He was in Ugly Betty, but he was in another sitcom. I'm sure he was like a doctor of some kind. Like regularly, he was like in a regular show. Maybe it was Nurses. Was Nurses a comedy? Was it? Could it have been? Might have been. I don't know. Was it 38? All My Children, 38 episodes. Let's go and have a look at Nurses and see if it was a comedy. Doesn't sound like a comedy for some reason. Oh, he was in the Golden Girls, wasn't he? He was in the Golden Girls. Of course he was in the Golden Girls. Wait a minute. Why is that? That's strange. 85, 86. The Golden Girls was what, 87, 88? Okay, so I'm going to go back to Nurses. So it was apparently it was a American sitcom. It was a sitcom. Aired on NBC from September the 14th, 91 to the May 7th, 94. And it was a spin-off of Empty Nest, which itself was a spin-off of the Golden Girls. So he wasn't the star, he was one of the people in there. Was he a doctor? Jack Trenton. Maybe I used to watch it. I might have done. Oh well. So I'm glad we had this little catch up. So I'm going to go and just say thank you. So thank you for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself because you do deserve to be happy. And be gentle with yourself. You deserve to feel safe. Lots of love. Bye. Bye.